No! What an ending. Hi, I'm Tom Ruprecht. I used to do research on the guests, and then I was a writer from 1998 to 2010. The glory years. Okay, so this was a top 10 joke from when I was in high school. I wasn't at the show, but I specifically remember this joke, and I don't know why it tickled me, but this is like one of the things that really made me want to work there.
From the home office in Milwaukee, ladies and gentlemen, top 10 reasons to continue the top 10 lists just a little longer. And number 1, we scared of the Goofa Man.
In my opinion, the best writer ever for Letterman was Steve O'Donnell. He just had incredible ideas and wonderful wordplay. And so here's a piece that Steve wrote that I thought was really good.
You know, it's sad when your child comes down with the flu, but why not put that steamy forehead to work? It's a fact. A feverish youngster can keep your dinner rolls toasty warm. But do you have a touch of the flu there?
No, diphtheria.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Why don't you run along? He has diphtheria.
I always really, like as a viewer, I loved Chris Elliott. There was a guy, Morton Downey Jr., who was just this crazed local TV host, and Chris Elliott was always very funny when he imitated him.
Joining me at home base tonight, oh, you're going to love this guy. Right over here, we got the vice president of the East Coast chapter for People for Pornography. Right over here, he's also the publisher of Screw Magazine. Say hello to David Letterman. Gotta tell you, it doesn't sound like it. Fan club showed up, pal.
I think if you're going to do this running character week after week, you should get some real guests in here instead of pretending I'm somebody else.
Well, let me tell you something, pal. The only thing I got to do is die and pay taxes and give the wife one of these. Ba-boom, every now and then.
Huh? Well, I'm sure she looks forward to that.
You checking me out?
No, I'm not checking you out.
Huh? Yeah? You like what you see?
No, I don't like what I see.
Huh? You break it, you bought it, honey.
Okay,
All purchases final.
Chris, is there a gas leak in your neighborhood or something?
There was a writer named Jerry Mulligan. He was like a great grandfather to me. One day I was in early. By the way, Dave, I was in early every day. But it was just Jerry and I in the office because it was very early. And Jerry decided to make some coffee, but he forgot to put the coffee pot down. And so what ended up happening is the coffee came out and went all over the kitchen area. And so I walk into the kitchen area and Jerry is on his hands and knees cleaning up this horrible mess in the kitchenette. And he's embarrassed, but he looked at me and he said, you know, thankfully, it's just you and I here, and no one has to know what a fool I've made of myself. Well, later that day, we needed just like a quick 30-second piece with a voiceover of the audience shot, and I had nothing else on me, so I wrote this.
Now, it's time for today's Late Show trivia question. Which longtime Late Show staffer forgot to place a coffee pot in the coffee machine this morning and flooded the 14th floor kitchenette with coffee? Did you get it? It was none other than writer Gerard Mulligan. Nice going, Gerard.
As soon as it aired, I hear Jerry in the office next to me go, "What?" And then I hear those big feet lumbering down the hall, and he came in so angry. And I said, "Jerry, you have to believe me. I have no idea how that ended up on the air." Sorry, Jerry. I remember one day I was going to the edit room and I was passing by Sue Hum, who was the costume designer's office, and she was on the phone with somebody, and I overheard her saying, "I don't know what to do. Dave has rejected all of the socks." And it hit me that we all had different job titles at that place, but we all had the same job. We were just trying to please Dave. And so it always meant a lot when I wrote something that he really liked. And here was a top 10 joke that I wrote, and he so loved it that he like kind of made it a catchphrase for a few weeks, and that like was the best currency going there.
The category tonight, top 10 Lizzie Grubman complaints about jail. Number 2, 240 women sharing 3 showers. What is this, Vassar? What is this, Vassar? That's my new catchphrase. As you know, maybe you don't know this, I'm working on some catchphrases that I will drop into the show to make things more entertaining. One I've stolen from my friend George Miller, in my pants.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Periodically, when you least expect it, I will drop in my pants.
That's a great one.
And now we came across another one last night. I like it pretty well, and we'll just see how it goes. What is this, Vassar?
Yeah.
Don't make any sense. Don't make any sense now.
Yeah.
But
It makes
before
more
long-
sense now than it did last night,
That's
actually.
right. Well, that's the way it goes.
Starting to
It's
understand it
growing
now.
on people, and tomorrow kids all across the country will be saying, "What is this, Vassar?
Yeah.
In my pants?"
Whoa.
As far as being a writer at the show, I can't, speak highly enough about Alan Coulter, because like our show, intentionally had kind of a amateur hour quality to it. But often as a writer, you didn't really have many people who could really make things come alive. Alan Coulter, he could. He would make things so much more funny. Here's something I wrote for Alan that I really liked.
Right.
I was reading about they had like a flight from Miami to Cancun. Everybody on the airplane was naked.
I heard about
It was like a spring break
Dave,
deal, an all
Dave,
nude
hey,
flight
Dave.
from Miami to Cancun.
Hey,
You
Dave.
get on, you take your clothes
Dave.
off. What?
Did you say nude flights?
Yeah.
Hot damn!
What is his problem?
This is living. I originally wanted to go to Cancun, but the flights were all booked. So I figured, what the heck? Go to Detroit. See my girlfriend's family.
Oh, man, is that ugly. That's just about as ugly a thing as I've ever seen.
I did a bunch of the remotes, so Biff and I would go all over the world shooting various pieces. I'm going to show you one joke that I really liked from one of the remotes we did. This was where we paid a visit to people who were having laser eye surgery done.
Damn, you got one crazy ass eyeball.
Before I was a writer, I used to work in the research department, which was, I would read about the guests and try to find interesting things for Dave to ask them. But also, because it was pre-internet, the whole staff would just use me to ask any question they had. They viewed me just kind of as like the librarian, albeit a sexy librarian. So one day I got a call from Dave's assistant, and Dave was thinking of buying a house in Montana, but he was a little concerned about if he bought a house in this area, would he be attacked by a bear? And so they asked, can you find out? I called the hardware store in the town, and I realized, I'm going to sound like an East Coast jerk, but I said, hey, I'm thinking of buying a place, I'm worried about bears, will bears eat me? And, the guy starts laughing, puts the phone, hey, Charlie, this wimp is scared about bears, and everyone at the hardware store has a big laugh at my expense. And I hung up the phone, and I called Dave's assistant, I said, tell him to buy the house, it's fine, there's no bears, he won't get eaten by a bear. And then he did.
It's a 4:59, because I know this because I look at the little digital readout on the clock. It's 4:59 a.m., and I hear a noise. And I think to myself, probably the wind, and in Montana, that's always a pretty good bet.
Yeah.
So finally, the noise becomes so cacophonous. There is so much noise coming out of the kitchen. Even if it's people making me breakfast, they're doing a horrible job of it. And I open the door, and there standing in my kitchen is the largest bear I've ever seen in my entire life.
Get out.
He had trashed the kitchen. I mean, he pulled the refrigerator out of the thing.
Oh.
He had pulled open the bottom drawers and just twisted them like little gum wrappers.
No kidding.
He ate half a chocolate cake. He ate a dozen bananas.
Yeah.
He ate 2 oranges. He ate a peach. He chewed up the peach and spit the peach pit out into the dog's bowl.
Okay.
He ate a jar of frosting. He had 2 pouches of beef jerky. He slid open the drawers and got out some candles.
Now good.
For ambiance.
Well, he's...
Here he is, finally, thank God, after 5.5 hours heading for the hills.
Dave, I'm sorry you almost got eaten by a bear. Okay, the thing I wrote that kind of had the longest life was great moments in presidential speeches. This was during George W. Bush's presidency.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
My lawyer is a Latino.
That's right.
So there was one in particular that stood out because there was a kid who got to be on stage during Bush's speech. But, you know, the kid was like 12 years old, and like anyone, he's bored during, you know, a presidential speech. During the entire time, he kept yawning and trying to slap himself awake.
Need to maintain spending discipline in our nation's capital. I've had planned to protect small business owners and employees from... I actually did vote for the $87 billion with all your heart. State House members, all the local officials, the high sheriff is with us today. You're worried about the quality of the education of the community in which you live. We stand for the fair treatment of faith-based groups who receive federal support for their work and passion. This will not happen on my watch.
So now that actually got attention, and the next day I'm at my desk and I have CNN on, and they show a clip.
All right, had a good giggle before the break, that video from David Letterman. We're being told by the White House that the kid, as funny as he was edited into that video.
Right, okay. So now this kind of gets your nose out of joint. She says, as funny as it was, we're being told by the White House. That's the key phrase. We're being told by the White House that the kid was not there and we edited the kid in. Well, that, of course, is absolutely not the case. The kid was right there. We didn't somehow work some kind of animatronic robotic magic. And now, shortly thereafter, that statement was amended to this.
Okay, we're told that kid was there at that event, but not necessarily standing behind the president, so you can put it all together.
So I'm all worked up about this, and then later we are told now that the White House didn't call CNN. That was the development the other day. The next day I'm told, oh no, the White House did contact CNN. There's a huge conspiracy developing, and they were contacted by the White House. They were trying to shut CNN up because they didn't want to make these people look ridiculous because they were big Republican fundraisers, and, you know, I'm going to disappear mysteriously. In about 8 months, they'll find my body in the trunk of a rental car. And this is a landmark day, whether you understand any of this or not. Today is a landmark day because for the first time in 25 years of network television broadcasting, the first time ever since I've been doing this, someone has apologized to me. Really? It has never happened before.
Turns out, due to what we might say, a misunderstanding among the folks who are usually so fantastic behind me here in the newsroom, turns out that was not true. The White House, turns out, I guess, never did call us about the tape. The Letterman show, if you've been watching at night, strongly denies it was fake. Boy, do they strongly deny that. And we've been looking through our tapes, and apparently we now see no evidence that it was faked. So, Dave, we apologize for the error. I hope that makes things good with us. If you need me to come up and do a stupid human trick or a stupid pet trick, I have that too. So hopefully we're just okay.
So no, the White House and CNN were lying. Your boy Tommy, all good. That was a real kid, real yawns. So I also got to appear in a bunch of bits. So here's one I did, and I was playing an audience member, but obviously I was someone who worked on the show. And so I had to be in a specific seat, and Dave was going to come in and pick me. And so it so happened that I was sitting in between a man and his wife. And so the guy said to me before the show starts, hey, can we just switch seats so I can sit next to my wife? But like, I couldn't say yes because I had to be sitting in this specific seat, but I also couldn't tell him why because I couldn't say, hey, Dave's coming in. You know, so I just went, no, I'm just going to keep this seat if that's okay. And the guy said, fine, I'll give you $50 to switch seats. And I said, no. He went, you know, you're an asshole. I come back, I sit down in the seat thinking all will be forgiven now that he knows. And the guy was now even madder at me because he thought he would have been the one on TV.
What's your name?
Scott.
Scott, where are you from?
Out of Chicago.
Chicago. She came in for the show. Congratulations on the Big Bulls victory.
Thank you. We're
And do you care about the Whitewater investigation?
No,
of course
well,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Now, Scott, this is a little something, and I hope you're a good sport. You look like you're probably a good sport. Are you a good sport? You like to have fun, don't you?
Oh, yes,
you enjoy
I do.
yourself. You look
Yes.
like a good time is always following you around.
Yes.
Okay. Scott, this is a little something we like to do whenever summertime, it warms up and we get a shower. And tomorrow, I believe, is the first day of summer,
Yes.
And this is a little something we do, and I hope you enjoyed. You up for a little fun?
I would love it.
Okay, hold Scott's purse if you don't mind. All right. Here we go, Scott. Watch it easy. I'm going to just take Scott right outside. Come on, Scott, right over here, right over here. Thank you. Right this way, Scott. We'll be back. I'll be with Scott. Oh, my God. Biff, where are you? Biff? Oh. How are you? We'll put you right over here, Scott.
Okay.
How are things in Chicago? You having a nice
Great.
spring?
Yeah.
All right. Right here, Biff?
Right here.
Just about there, Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe just a little. There you go. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Taxi! Hey! Okay. Let's just go right by if you can. Okay. Got it.
So this morning I was going through appearances I did on the show to try to see if there was anything worthwhile. And when it ended, my daughter, Sally, who was sitting next to me, said, "You know, Dad, you're actually underrated." Which made me wonder, what have you heard about me? What reviews have you heard about me?